Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of How to Punish. Today we are looking at Kotal Kahn, the other Kahn. Kotal Kahn is considered to be one of the worst characters in the game. We'll go through a little bit about why. I mean, mostly this is How to Punish, so... And by the way, I'm recording this on my stream, so if you see me talking to people, it's because I'm recording on stream, and vice versa, stream people. If you hear me talking about YouTube stuff, it's because I'm going to put this on my YouTube. Kotal Kahn is a power-hitting character. He doesn't have a lot of moves and strings, but as you can see, a lot of his moves have like really meaty impacts. But he is considered one of the worst characters in the game. I guess just because you have to work much harder with him than you do. Yeah, exactly. Nuclear Davey in my chat just said he wanted to play Kotal Kahn, but he learnt Sonya instead, which I think was a very wise move. But yeah, so Kotal Kahn, considered a low tier character. You have to put in a lot of work with him, and in this spec, which is his main spec, which I think is called Ascension, this is his main combo, and as you can see, it switches sides. It's a command grab. So if you've got somebody in the corner, you can't even finish them with your main. You can't even finish them with the main ender because it throws them out of the corner. So yeah, we'll start through going his moves and we'll see what he can and can't punish. Because if you don't know how to fight against him still, even though he's not considered a great character, he does do a lot of damage and can F you up. So, let's get this show on the road, shall we? Oops. So, standing 1, 8 frames, -2. Forward 1, -3. Down 1, 7 frames, -5. And that's his main tick grab usage. So be careful when you get down 1 by a Kotal, he can go into his command throw, which is a high, so you can duck it, but at least I'm pretty sure it's a high. Let's just test that quickly before I start popping off about it. No, it's a mid. So yeah, be careful. In that instance, it's probably best to jump. If you think that he's going to do down 1 into a grab, or you can do a hop, and that'll be it too. But yeah, just be careful. It's down 1, 7 frames, and it's one of his main things that he ticks into ticks into a throw. So if you don't know what a tick throw is a normal move, or usually it's a normal or a string that it's essentially it makes you tick. So it keeps you in a block stun long enough that you can go into a command throw, which is usually it's not a combo, but it's keeping you in block stun, which is how long you're holding block for, long enough for it to hit. So just be careful of his down 1 because he can connect it into his command throw. So you'll have to jump that because it is a mid. Standing 2, 9 frames, 0 on block. Back 2, huge slice. So be careful. That's quite a good anti-air as well if you jump in from too far away. Back 2, -14. Forward 2 is another advancing normal, -7. They'll try and catch you. If they see you walking backwards and forwards, they'll try and do forward 2 to try and catch you mid-movement, basically. Down 2 is his uppercut. It's got quite a high range, but it looks like it's even worse than Garrus's in terms of it being a shallow hitbox. 9 frames though, but yeah, it's not great. Standing 3 is a high, +1. Forward 3 is his advancing low. This is a pretty decent move. If you're not careful, he can catch you out. That's the name of the game. If you see with Kotal's moves, they tend to have quite a high range, his normals, and they tend to cover quite a lot of distance. So yeah, forward 3 is his low, -5, it is safe. Down 3, -9, that's reasonable range for down 3. And then you've got standing 4, which is a high, -1. Back 4, which is his sweep, which is the range isn't great, but it's pretty fast, -9 as well. It's unsafe, but it pushes you far enough away that you probably won't be able to get to punish him. This big boot is a mid, just blasts you across the screen. But it's actually a mid, so you can't duck it, and it is safe. And then down 3. His down 4 is pretty decent actually. It's got quite a lot of range, so if they do a string and they want to keep you out, they'll usually use down 4 over down 3 because it's got quite a long range. So yeah, it's got some good buttons. Nothing that's inherently super punishable straight away. Oh, that is actually back to his -15. That's super punishable. Jeez Louise. But yeah, the main thing that I would worry about here is his down 1. Because down 1, 7 frames, that's quite a good distance. But like I said, it can go straight into his command throw. So you just have to be very careful about it. And the range on all of his normals as well, you have to be careful of. If you're walking backwards and forwards and you're not ready to block, he is going to catch you out every time. Combo attacks. He's got a fair few combo attacks, but I've heard that these aren't... There's a lot of gaps in between them. So let's see if we can find them. 1, 2. High mid, -2. -6 in the end. 1, 2, 2. 1, 2. This is his normal. I mean, you can probably flawless block that. Let's see. Nope, that's not what I wanted. Maybe you can't interrupt it? Yeah, no, you can't interrupt it. So it's an overhead as well, so you have to be careful. You have to block that last bit high. But it is -16 on block. So if you see a Kotal Kahn and they end that string on you, forward 1, 2 is -4, but if they end the string on you trying to catch you out, -16, that is super punishable, so make sure you punish that. Forward 1, 4. I've never seen anyone use that. That's -5. That's a high-low mix-up. Can't special cancel into it, so you can't unblock anyway. No, so that's a bit of a random string, but it's -5. 2, 2. High low. Oop. I've never seen that string before in my life. It doesn't seem too bad. The high low is -9, so that's not safe. So you can definitely punish that. 2, 2, 1. Interesting about 4, 1, 2. Oh, really? So if you don't... So if you do forward 1, 2, 2, but you can still punish it, right? Oh, after down 1. Oh, okay. So I was just told... Sorry, I understand you. So Fight Zone Ita in my chat has just said that after a down 1, they'll do... Kotals tend to do forward 1, 2, 2 to hit. So if they hit you with a down 1... So on hit, it gives you enough frame advantage that it jails you. So if you try and press a button afterwards, you will get hit by the forward 1, 2, 2. Okay, I'm with you. So that's where they get the counter hit. So be careful if that hits you as well, because on hit, if you're mashing buttons, you'll get hit with forward 1, 2, 2, and then they'll get the crush, because that actually does pop you up in the air, and they can get big damage of it. Cool, man. Thank you, Fight Zone. Then you got forward 2, 1. Which is, so forward 2, 1 is -7, so that's actually unsafe, so you can down 1 or standing 1 that. And then forward 2, 1, 4 is actually -14, so that's super punishable. Is there a gap there? Let's see. I mean, I'm not being able to follow block it. Oops. No, I don't think you can flawless block it. but you can definitely punish it. So yeah, there's no gap there to punish, like flawless block wise, but minus 14, you're going to get a full combo. If you do block it and they finish the string off, you are going to get a complete full combo punish. Back 2-2. This is another starter set. Back 2-2 is minus 16. Into an overhead. So the back 2-2 was minus 16. That's super punishable, but the overhead is only minus 5, so that's safe. But is this flawless blockable? Let's see. Yes. So the 3 So the 3 there of the back 2-2-3 is flawless blockable, and you can get a... Oh really? Davey's saying that you can actually get a standing... Nuclear Dave in chat's actually saying you can get a standing jab. Maybe I just wasn't quick enough. I'm getting zipped. I don't know if you can get a standing jab. Oh, you can! He's completely right. Okay, so yeah. You can actually get a... Alright, I'll shut my mouth. Thank you, Davey. So you get... If you time it right... Obviously, I'm doing it too late. Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Davey. So, yes, you can actually not just flawless block it, but you can... I mean, Garrus's jab is 7 frames. If you've got a 7-frame jab at least, it'll go through it. And you've got 3-4, which is 0 on block. That looks like you can flawless block that too. Oh, that was the wrong move. Maybe you can't. No, you can't. That doesn't have a gap in it. So that's 0 on block. So be careful of that, because that's actually a frame trap. So, well, what? It's not frame trap, but he's even. So if you press buttons afterwards, he's going to have the advantage. So be careful. I've never actually seen that string before in my life, but yeah, he's evens on that. And lastly, forward 3-4, which is -3. So that's safe. You can't special cancel off it, but if they catch you in doing it in a neutral, it's got quite a long knockback, so it's just going to blast you across the screen. Special move. So we're looking at Ascension, because not many people use Totemic. We will do Totemic too, I think, just for the sake of completion, but this is the one that people tend to use. So you've got this parry. It sort of works in the same way as a flawless block, in that it's not a conventional parry like Jade's. Well, I mean, yeah, it is a high starter as well, yeah, 3-4. Yeah, it's not a conventional parry in the sense that it gives you a counter hit afterwards into like an animation or anything, but if you do parry something with it, and you can delay it by holding 1, it gives you more frame. It's sort of like flawless blocking, basically. It's the same equivalent. So it gives you a bit more advantage to punish stuff. Down back 2 is his command grove, which you can amplify for more damage, and it actually gives him a damage boost. I think it can stack up to 3 times. So you can see you have to be careful because, like I said, after a down one, and he's got a bunch of other tick throws as well, which I'm not sure what they are, but down one is his main one. So yeah, side switches you, but he can also just do it in neutral. You can't take it obviously because it's a command throw, and you can't duck it either. So yeah, just be careful. It doesn't do as much damage as a normal throw, but as I said, if he does it the first time, so it does 125 the first time. If he does it 2 times, it's going to do more. So now it does as much as a throw, and then if you do it 3 times, it's going to do more than a throw. It's 154. So it does stack with each time, but yeah, just be wary of it as you would with most command throws. Kahn cut is specific to this spec, so this is his main combo extender / launcher, but it's minus 13 in block. So if they just do it without confirming, you can get a full punish. Yakemi disc is his projectile. So there is a high though, so you can duck it, but be careful with it as well, because if you do it from full screen and it hits on a trade, I believe is a requirement. Oh no, it's if it's a counter hit. So if your counter hits you, so if you're in a projectile war and it might trade on a counter, it actually does a crushing blow, which does loads of damage. So if you see him standing full screen with and you're, you know, Kotal's throwing projectiles like this, you might want to be careful. Yeah, so it does have a crushing blow attached to it. Does Kahn cut? No. Okay. Then you've got this move. This is one of Kotal's most gimmicky moves. So what it does is it's actually an unblockable. So you see him put it into the floor. This Zawaldo! You'll see it takes, so they'll do it after a block string basically, so it's forward 1-2. It's unblockable, but you have a million years to react to it. It's only a couple of more frames start up than a Z-hat. So, oh, so you finally heard it. Zawaldo! But yeah, so be careful of that. And if they hit with the first bit, then the second bit is an overhead, which actually reaches further away. So you see that it moves him forward. So even though the second bit isn't unblockable, if he does amplify it, it goes miles. So let's see what it is on block. It's minus 29 on block. So if you do, if they do miss the unblockable bit and they amplify it, you've got plenty of time to dash in and get a full punish. But yeah, this is a gimmick. Oh no, not that, sorry. This is a gimmick. I get hit by it all the time, but you see it takes a million years. You can jump over it, you can do whatever you want, you can punish it straight away, but you can actually get a full jump in punish on it. So yeah, don't be afraid of it, because even though it's unblockable, you can punish it on reaction if you're quick enough. Yeah, and then finally, this spec has God Ray. So this is interesting for 2 reasons. One, it works very similar to Aaron Black's Acid in the sense that it is not... Oops. It is damage that you can't block. So I've got him to block everything. As you can see, it's ticking away. It did 100 damage. So if he just stands in it non-stop, it does 100 damage. Kotal Kahns like to use this when you're on chip damage because it more or less guarantees the win, because it goes through last breath. So it's not like you're blocking it and then your last breath goes away and then it does damage. It will just straight up take off. It will kill you. It'll do 100 damage to you like that. But also, you'll see, if I push me, it actually heals Kotal as well. So actually, if we're both standing in it, it looks like it does more damage to him. Oh, so if we're both standing in it, that's an interesting mechanic I didn't know about. If we're both standing in the sun ray, so if you see, it ticks for 5 when it's just Garrus standing in it, but if we're both standing in it, it ticks for 6.5. So that's interesting to know. So if he grabs you, hold on. It does work similarly, can you see? 218 damage throw, as opposed to 140. So that's super interesting, I didn't know that. So be very careful if he puts down the sun ray. It's sort of like a double sun ray, isn't it? Because you get a sun ray from the throw as well. So yeah, be very careful of the sun, because that's actually a pretty solid move. It works on his back throw as well. Look, 225 damage back throw just because I'm standing in the sun ray. So be very careful of the sun ray, basically. If he puts it down, try not to stand into it. Stand in it, especially not if he's standing next to you. We might as well just take a look at his other variation, just for the sake of completion. So Totemic, the only thing that this really has is the Tiger style. Yeah, so he doesn't have any other special moves, anything like that. Not special moves, sorry. He doesn't have any special strings. But what he does have instead, he still has the parry. So these are his moves. So he's got this ender instead. So basically he loses the uppercut, and instead he gets this sword as a combo ender. Does it have a crushing blow? It just seems a bit less scary, basically. Ah, so if he does it as an anti-air, he can get a big crushing blow for it for 130 damage. So it side switches if you amplify it. This is the Tiger style. So it starts this little command thing. It's quite good for punishing stuff. So if you block like a sand trap, it sort of works a similar way to like a Shao Kahn shoulder or a shadow kick. So it can actually punish you from reasonable distances if you're not careful. But as with all of these sorts of moves, it is mad unsafe. Minus 28, and then he can do it in the air as well as like a dive kick, minus 19. So these are both very, very punishable. But yeah, be more worried about it. I mean, it can surprise you if you're not ready for it as a dive move, but it's more you need to be worried about it if you're whiffing stuff from about here. You know, he can catch you because it does have quite a fast start up. So he's got his beam still, but it doesn't work the same way. The other one, in the other variation, he can put it either close to him or far away. In this one, he can only put it on himself. So it still works the same way, as you can see. It still gives you the damage buff and stuff, and does more damage to Garrus if you're standing in it, but he can't aim it. So it's not as scary, but if you're in the corner, be careful, because he can probably... Let's get this guy in the corner. Yeah, now you're just holding it, and you're scared to jump, and whatever. He doesn't have the command throw in this variation either, so you don't have to worry about that. And then lastly, he's got this totem, which he can actually amplify. He can actually spec 3 times, and what this one does is, it gives him a damage buff. I think it's a damage buff. Oh, the tiger goes through projectiles. Nuclear Davey just told me in chat. If you amp it. Oh, interesting. Okay, thank you, Papa Masha. Okay, so it can, if you amplify it, it tracks over to the guy. So that's cool. Does it go full screen? Oh yeah, it'll go straight over to him. So that's cool. So I didn't know that. So yeah, but you do have to worry about it then if he amplifies it and he just shoots it straight over to you, because then you have to jump through it as well. So if you're on that last little bit of tick, that's a very good round ender. What does the totem do? What does it give you? Is it damage? No, it's not damage. Oh no, it gives you health back, doesn't it? It heals you. Yeah, so you saw there, after it goes away, just wait for it to go away. When you deal damage, it returns the damage as HP back to you. Yeah, you can see plus 67, so that's just a heal. So you just have to be worried about if he puts down 3. So you can see the blood going into the thing. I got healed for 300 damage. Actually, that's quite a big heal. Dang it. So I actually got healed for all the damage that I did, more or less. If throws to 140 and both of my throws, and I got 315 damage back. So yeah, you have to be a little bit worried about that. But yeah, so that's Kotal Kahn. I mean, he's about If they made some of these strings much less minus on block, then he'd be much better, but the fact that you have to fully commit to his strings, and then he doesn't have many good, neither of these specs have good combo enders really, and all of his special moves are super punishable, even though they are cool. And he's got wicked fatalities. But yeah, that's Kotal Kahn. I think he's only a couple of buffs away from being a sick character. There's a really good Kotal Kahn called Furious Pillow, who actually beat Hayate at Combo Breaker, if you guys want to check that out. That was a good match. And he smoked Jackal as well, who's a Shao Kahn player. But yeah, that's all from Kotal Kahn. Thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please like and subscribe. If there's another character I haven't done, then please let me know. I've only got a couple of characters left now, but just let me know if there's one I haven't done that you'd like to know. Follow me on Twitter at SodiumGym. Hit me up on my stream at SodiumGym. Everything's SodiumGym. And yeah, stick around if you want to have a look at the rest of the channel. I've got loads of guides. I've got match analysis. You know, I went to a tournament, fought Foxy Grandpa. Today I ran sets with Video Games for Ages. Video Games Yo, who's the best Shao Kahn in the world. And he smoked me over and over again, but they were really, really fun sets, and he's a really top dude. So is Foxy, actually. Everybody in the scene is really cool. So yeah, that's all from me for now, but always remember to stay salty. Take care, everybody.